Hey guys, welcome to the show. We got a great one lined up for you today. The Trinity. Just gonna take that heliocentric reification fallacy, model, back to the woodshed and beat it senseless. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Let's meet the BALLBUSTERS today. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen?
Woo!
Yeah, ladies, how are you?
Hello.
That's amazing. You're all fired up. I couldn't get you to shut up before the show. Now it's like, oh, hello.
Yeah, we kind of know who you are and what you're about, so
Just another day. It's
we just fall in line, right?
Listen, I'm in Missouri. And it's a beautiful day here in Missouri today. Got my window open behind me. Birds are singing. Right? It's time to get motivated.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Jeez,
Bring it on.
man, dudes.
Well, all right.
Hey, come on, Betty, keep the spirits up. Woohoo! Bring it on.
Maybe you need to sing that song again, Davey.
No,
with
he
the
doesn't.
Turn
No,
out the light.
No, he doesn't. We have a special guest today, is Davey. He's the maker of the website, globeterminator.com. We're going to get there in a second, but welcome, Davey.
Thank you guys for having me. Pleasure being on this show that I've been watching for over a year now, I think. Something around there.
And
I was QE's slave for a few weeks, building out his website. Blood, sweat, and tears. And it's finally done.
done? Oh, no. We ain't nowhere near done. No, but it's outstanding. Thanks for coming, Davey. We also have Chocolate Sand, the one that was highly motivated. What's up, Chocolate?
Yes, highly motivated. Always. What's up, guys?
What's up, man? What's up, Arwen? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I literally just finished my last bite of my dinner, watching Owen Benjamin, who pretty much ended the stream right before this. So I'm a new arrival. A late arrival, or right on time actually. So yeah, good evening, everyone.
What you have for dinner? Hagen, Socken, Slocken, Sloggleglotzen?
No, actually, vegan spaghetti,
Oh.
all homemade and organic, with fresh.
Same difference. Then.
Yeah, right. Same difference. We had the distinguished Nathan Oakley. How's it going today, sir?
Very good. Very excited about today's top 3 globe killers. Really excited, in fact.
We had an old friend show up in the chat we were talking about earlier, Charles Flat Earth Math, but he had to go to Home Depot, right? So I told him, or I asked him before he left, that he should ask the staff there at Home Depot for some condensed air, but the caveat, special condition, is that he wants it without a container. Friggin' clown. This boy, I tell you what, some years ago, it was 4 years ago on Robert Bassano's channel, he doesn't understand what exponents are. I tried to tell him that there was a huge difference between 760 torr and 10 to the negative 5th torr. I was trying to explain the concept. He kept on trying to subtract 10 to the negative 5th from 760. What can you say to that? I mean, this guy and the pinnacle was his double-blind chemistry experiment. He parroted the double-blind physics experiment from Slow Sparkane. He parroted it mindlessly on his channel to Slick James Johnson. I nearly fell off the chair. My wife, I just reminded her of it. She laughed harder this time. So Charles Flat Earth Math, a shout out to you, bozo. But he won't be in chat. He's at Home Depot getting his containerless condensed air.
Shout out retracted.
Anything else new? Anything else going on? How's the weather over there in the Netherlands?
That's my department or Arvid's department?
Both.
Yeah, it rained a little bit today, and just when I was going for a bike drive to the shop.
You rode a bike
But
today?
Yeah, I rode a bike today. Yeah, I wanted to pump up the tires, and I thought, well, heck, we don't need tire pressure, so.
You don't need the tire. You should have just pumped it right into the air beside it.
Well, sort of the pump did because it didn't function.
Good one for that. Someone in the comments, Betty, said you just need to go and get a gravity wheel. And you don't need...
Where do I find those?
Home Depot.
I think a gas pressure-based pump would work better.
They're conceptual tires.
Conceptual tires. Yeah, so it was a bit of a rough ride now with the tires being low on pressure.
I thought the Germans stole all your bikes.
Yeah, but we don't want them back because we have now e-bikes, right? So we need those. They can keep the old stuff.
Okay, what do we want the status of the midget golf courses? Were they full or empty today?
We're almost staying safe and staying home.
Don't touch your face.
Corona quarantine.
Flatten the curve. This black swan situation will soon come to end. The end is on the horizon.
Yes.
And it's not midget golf no more. It's now, I think, leprechaun golf because you have to do it in your house now. So
The politically correct term, vertically challenged golf.
I think it's little people golf.
Little people golf.
Hey, just to let everyone know of what's coming up before we get started here. QE Live Tuesday. Tell everyone you know, because we're going to pound away at an actual professor of physics. I mean, this is a real one. It's going to be epic, so make sure you're here. Tell your friends, tell your mom and dad, tell all the physics professors out there. They're going to want to see this. And let's see what we got here. We have a
Whoa.
What?
Hold on.
What?
God, you useless plugs. Tell them all to see what time, what channel, what place. Repeat it 2 or 3 times. Tell them you're going to tell them, then tell them, then tell them you've told them.
It's right here on the Quantum Eraser channel, 1 p.m. Central US, 8 p.m. UK, right stinking here, QE Live. Professor Bill Bell. Make sure everyone tells him, too. We want him here. Okay? We want all his peers and his family here, too. How about that?
You say the 22nd, yeah?
It is Tuesday the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
First, my bad. And it's 7 p.m. UK time. 1 p.m. Central, I think.
Is it 7? I thought it was 8 p.m. UK.
No, it was. The clocks have corrected themselves now, so...
Lots of correct. Wait a second. I made the correction.
This
Well,
is
you
a
have
great...
UK time and you have Amsterdam time. Maybe you're confused with that.
What time you
Because
got
we have
now?
an hour later.
What time you got now in England?
Past 7.
7:12?
And here it's 8.
Thanks. 7:12?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, yeah. 1 p.m. US Central, 7 p.m. UK, right here on the Quantum Eraser channel. Professor of Physics, an actual one, is going to get pummeled. It's going to be epic. It's really bad. Take my word for it. You won't see anything like this again in your lifetime.
It's Tuesday, 21st. Be here or be sphere. 7 p.m. UK, 1 p.m. Central Standard. But more importantly, today, top 3 globe killers. Dun, 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 dun.
Just hold off on that for a second, why don't you? Wait 1 second. I got one more thing to announce, and then I want you to get on with that. So, we have a new web page on the Quantum Eraser, the Globe Terminator website. I just wanted to announce that today. right? This is awesome, folks, if you haven't seen this website yet, right? We got the Black Swan all consolidated for you. You just hit Black Swan argument, right? It's right there for you. You can pull it right off this website. Too easy. I'm not going to go over everything for you, but you get the gist. Show up. The link to the website is in the info box below. It's the first one. We got Try Me, the scientific method. We got some words from our clients, Danny Faulkner, Mick West, George Mooser, Neil Smoking DeGrasse Tyson, Michu Kaku, right? All the playlists. And then we have a new one. We have a new page, Proofs, that is scientific proofs of the creator. This is going to send the atheists off the deep end, right? This is outstanding, man. Make sure you guys check this out. Again, you can pull all these right off of this channel. Mike, discipline, please. Thank you. Right, here we go. So check it out when you get a chance, man. It's theglobeterminator.com, and the website is in the info box below. Nathan, cue it up.
Do the full top 3 if you like. Want to summarize them?
Do it.
Dun, 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 dun. At number 3, it's the Coriolis effect. If the Earth is spinning at 15 degrees an hour underneath the second reference frame of a spinning gyroscope, then it's also rotating underneath aeroplanes. And a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina, usually taking about 4 hours, to LA would take 1.5 hours. It does not, because the Earth is not spinning. Dun, 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 dun. Down 1 at number 2, it's gas pressure without a container. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we're breathing would fill the space. Dun, 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 dun. And a new entry at number 1, it's the Black Swan. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every distance to horizon measurement must be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Distance to horizon measurement in the Black Swan is way in excess of 10 miles, when it should be 1.2. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Da-da!
Wow.
There was one time I went in the hangout. I was in a room with Nathan. All I heard was dun, 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 dun. I'm like, Nathan. Dun, 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 dun. He wasn't listening. He kept on singing. He was singing in the background, man. So this is real. Went on for about 10 minutes. Hey, okay,
I think we're done, right? We can leave it at this.
We can leave it at that. Yeah, we can end on a positive note.
Yeah, and the end screen will point people to the right videos, and then we're done, right?
Yeah, we got the new end screens. Yes. But sorry, Nathan, we're ruining your plug. There's a couple more things I have to say. You're going to have to do that all over again. So, remember, this is a BALLBUSTERS. Everyone entering the BALLBUSTERS Discord voice chat is clean slated. That means any bad history between guests and panel members would be put aside and not spoken of. There are 3 zero tolerance rules. No ad homs, that is, attacking the man or woman in lieu of the argument. Number 2, no scattergunning. One topic at a time, each will be exhausted to conclusion before moving to the next. Be prepared to support every claim. And number 3, be polite, speak slowly and coherently. If any of these 3 are violated, you will be server muted immediately, then kicked from the BALLBUSTERS voice chat. The link for the BALLBUSTERS voice chat is in the info box below. We are going to stop after each of these 3 sections of the Trinity to get your thoughts, comments, and any rebuttals. We're looking for rebuttals for the spinning ball space monkey religion, because these 3 kill it. There's nothing left. I mean, we have many more. I've about 13 or 15 of them, right? But these three, all I need is these three. That's it. Any questions? Go ahead, Nathan, start again.
I'm not doing it again. You're joking.
Dun, 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 dun. We're not spinning. All right? Let me show you something. For the Coriolis effect to exist, that's what we're going to use. We're going to use the Coriolis effect. Because if it's spinning, then there must be a Coriolis effect. So that's what we're going to use to evaluate it. So for the Coriolis effect to exist, you must have, that is, the necessary conditions, two differing frames of reference. One rotating coordinate system, that's non-inertial, and the Earth. That's the Earth. And one non-rotating coordinate system that's inertial, that's the atmosphere. And everything in it. From Douglas Segar, Introduction to Ocean Sciences, Critical Concept Reminders. This is a university-level textbook defining the Coriolis effect. Before I get into that, let me just give you some words of advice. Because I'm listening to a lot of arguments in Discord, on YouTube, and what's happening is these spinning space monkeys are using terms that they're just making up definitions for. So what you do with each subject that they bring up, whether it be gravity, Mike, discipline, please. Whether it be gravity, air pressure, angles to Polaris, have them define exactly what they're talking about and cite it. We don't want what they think it is or what they're going to make up or change halfway through the discussion. We want it cited. We want it on the screen while they're talking. So we keep them within the boundaries of that definition. That'll end the games right there. But I digress. I'm going to do it for you right here. The Coriolis effect. When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air, that's atmosphere, and water masses, that's clouds and water vapor, move in straight paths while the Earth continues to do what? Rotate independently. Because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates, they are subject to an apparent deflection called the Coriolis effect. To an observer rotating with the Earth, freely moving objects that travel in a straight line appear to travel in a curved path on the Earth. This is self-explanatory, self-evident. If you have a 4th grade reading acumen, you can understand this definition. It says the Earth continues to rotate independently. Independently of what? Well, the two things they mentioned up top, right before it. The atmosphere and the clouds. Everyone get it? They don't. In other words, anything not tethered to the Earth is freely moving. The object in question, not physically attached to the rotating coordinate system, Earth, appears to deflect. That is, it moves independently of the rotating coordinate system from a vantage point anywhere on the rotating coordinate system. That's the Earth. So if the Coriolis effect exists, this is very important, with respect to the Earth, then a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA, nonstop traveling at 500 miles an hour, that's the airspeed, with both locations roughly the 35th degree north latitude, that is, they're both allegedly spinning at 860 miles an hour, should be approximately 1.5 hours. But it's not. It's approximately 4.5 hours. Charlotte to LA flight, the airspeed is 500 miles an hour. The ground speed, you have to take the airspeed, the 500 miles an hour, plus the 860 mile an hour rotation speed that's coming in your face because you're traveling from east to west. You got to take that into account. Then you add them together. 1,360 miles an hour. Mike, discipline, please. So in my example, there's two different frames of reference. One, the Earth, and two, the atmosphere, and everything in it. Number 2, the plane in the atmosphere is freely moving. That is, it's not attached to the rotating coordinate system and is flying in a straight path. In other words, based on the law of non-contradiction, each, the Coriolis effect with respect to the Earth and the Charlotte flight at 1.5 hours are either both true or both false. Simple logic. The flight is most assuredly false. Therefore, the Earth is not spinning, ergo the spinning ball goes by way of the dodo bird, or you're a stationary ball geocentrist. Voila. Now, my new 5-step plan. It's called the 5-point palm globe tart exploding fairy tale religion technique. If there's no spin, flat Earth wins. See if you can follow this. If the Coriolis effect exists on the Earth, then A, the Earth must be spinning, that is, rotating, it's the non-inertial reference frame. And B, the object affected by the Coriolis effect must be moving through the non-rotating inertial frame of reference, untethered to the rotating non-inertial frame of reference, such as airplanes, helicopters, balloons, missiles, bullets. Doesn't matter. As long as it's in the inertial frame of reference and it's not tethered to the non-inertial spinning frame of reference, that's what we're talking about. It's very simple. Let's take a look at this. Remember, I told you, have them define what they're talking about. So, let's take a look at it from their alma mater wiki. For the 2675th time, in the inertial frame of reference, upper part of the picture, the black ball moves in a straight line. However, the observer, the red dot, you see the red dot right here? Who is standing in the rotating non-inertial frame of reference, lower part of the picture, sees the object as following a curved path due to the Coriolis effect. But the object, the black ball right here, that's in the inertial frame of reference, is going straight. It is the observer in the rotating frame of reference that is rotating. It's making it appear that the ball's curving, but it's not. That's what the Coriolis effect is. It is an apparent deflection. Now, a couple questions. Do you see any latitude lines here? No? How about directions? North, south, east, or west? No? I wonder why. It's because it doesn't have anything to do whatsoever with the Coriolis effect. It's the same reason why they don't mention gummy bears or chicken soup here. Because it has nothing to do with the Coriolis effect. This is very simple. And it's outlined on their alma mater's page on the Coriolis effect. So have them define it. First is my point. Point 2, the Coriolis effect, also called the Coriolis force, is defined as the apparent deflection of objects, such as airplane, wind, missiles, ocean currents, moving in a straight path relative to the Earth's surface. Point 2. Everyone's got that. Point 3. This is where it gets a little tricky. I can remember back in the day, 3 or 4 years ago, I pulled this little trick out on Marbles of the Mouth Mark. And he couldn't handle it. I thought his brain was going to explode. So Mark Taylor, this one's for you. I know you remember that. Point 3. So at this point, as long as it's established, and it is, that airplanes are subject to the Coriolis effect, we now drop the Coriolis effect argument. We now drop the Coriolis effect argument. Did I lose everyone? Hopefully not, because the actual argument is the Coriolis causes. That's what we're going for. That is, the conditions that afford the existence of the Coriolis effect. Those two differing frames of reference I showed you above in the little GIF from their alma mater. So, that moves to point 4. The velocity of a plane, that is the airspeed traveling due east or due west, must be either added or subtracted to the velocity of the rotating Earth spinning below it, depending on the direction of travel of the plane. Makes sense? Right? So if a plane is traveling due west at 500 miles an hour, that's the airspeed, and the Earth is traveling due east at 860 miles an hour, like I said, the ground speed, then the velocities are added together. 500 miles an hour air plus the 860 miles an hour ground speed, which is coming in your face, that equals 1,360 miles an hour. So a plane traveling due west with an airspeed of 500 miles an hour has a total ground velocity of simple 1,360 miles an hour. Simple addition. Moving to point 5. To find the t the plane flight would take, we use the formula distance equals rate times time. Rearranging to solve for t would be distance over rate equals time. Let's do it. So the distance from Charlotte, North Carolina to LAX is 2,115 miles. The rate from above is again 1,360 miles an hour. The 2,115 divided by 1,360 is going to give you a flight time of 1.5 hours. Does this flight time exist? No. Therefore, the Earth is not spinning, ergo the spinning ball goes by way of the dodo bird, or you're a stationary ball geocentrist. Voila. Now spinning space monkeys. Take 5 steps. Unbelievable. The only way the above can be refuted is if you're of the position that the atmosphere spins with the Earth. So then, if that's the case, please explain how the Coriolis effect can exist when the necessary conditions for it to exist are 2 different coordinate systems, that is, reference frames. We already looked at them above with the alma mater wiki gif. You have one rotating, that's non-inertial, the Earth, and one non-rotating inertial, the atmosphere. And everything in it. So, if you can't reconcile that, it's a violation of the law of non-contradiction. Number 2. Show the experiment where gases or a gas rotate in lockstep with a rotating solid body just 5 centimeters above the surface, then provide the mechanism. You do understand gases have no intermolecular bonds. Obviously rhetorical. So do gas molecules attach to the Earth and each other by Velcro, superglue, molasses, pixie dust, other? Gas molecules, i.e. air, vibrate and move freely and randomly at high speeds. I don't even know why I have to show this. I don't know why I have to show 99% of the citations I show. I don't know why. Right? This is solids. This is gases. Hey, let's go. Start rocking with me. That's right. Better follow my instructions. This is from the chemistry department at Purdue. This is solid. See, they're moving, but they're only moving in a real tight space. Then you have liquids that are moving a little bit more freely than these solids. And then you have gases. Okay? How can these be attached and moving in the same direction when they're not attached to each other? And the definition of gas behavior is they move freely and randomly at high speeds. I mean, I don't know. It's time to move away from the power lines. Unbelievable. Get off of there. Like I said, how can gas molecules that make up the atmosphere move freely and randomly at high speeds? Yet, according to the intellectual elite Baltards, rotate in unison, that is not moving freely and randomly at high speeds, with the Earth from west to east. Right? So that's a violation of the law of non-contradiction number 2. But wait, there's more. Number 3, my favorite. Please explain east, north, and south surface winds on a spinning ball that has the atmosphere. That's air, wind, and gas rotating it with it from west to east. Explain that. I'm just talking about surface winds. We're not talking about every single echelon above the surface. They're all moving in different directions, right? Please explain that. I mean, you got incoherent second graders laughing at you. Bonus question. How can you have different wind speeds moving in different directions simultaneously at differing elevations of the atmosphere, all the while the atmosphere is collectively spinning east in unison the same? You can't. This is a triple law of non-contradiction violation. Number 4. By the way, these are contradictory statements. The atmosphere spins with the Earth. And number 2, the existence of east, north, and south surface winds. They're incompatible. They're antithetical to each other. You still haven't got this after 5 years, baltards. Unbelievable. Which one of these do you think is false? You have to pick one. One of these statements is false. Go ahead and pick one. I triple dog dare you. Clowns. Moreover, following the baller's yarn, every cubic nanometer of atmosphere traveling horizontally from the equator to the center of rotation must have differing tangential speeds. And every cubic nanometer of atmosphere rising in elevation from each respective horizontal cubic nanometer of atmosphere must have differing tangential speeds. In fact, the higher the elevation, the faster they'll need to travel to keep up. And all of this rolling along at differing speeds in unison. East. Violation of the law of non-contradiction number 5. This is so far beyond preposterous, ludicrous, and absurdity. Evolution, whatever that is, multiverses, and married bachelors are blushing. And does anyone know how far up this increasing speed, rope-a-dope, fairy tale spinning atmosphere ends? I'd like to see that. It'll give a whole new meaning to guillotine wind shear. Goodness gracious, people. And again, P.S. are the gas molecules attached to each other by Velcro, glue, honey, pixie dust, molasses, other? And where is the energy coming from for this continuous shot in the arm injections needed to keep each successive cubic nanometer of atmosphere higher elevation brethren in tow? Please. Without violating the conservation laws. I'd like to see that. Let's stop right here before we get to hurricanes. We're going to take this out back. This is a joke. Questions, comments?
The critical detail, because you've done this presentation a few times, you didn't say it with quite enough gusto that it needed, which is that once you've established what the Coriolis effect actually is with your opponent, there's no need to ever address the Coriolis effect ever again within the argument. Because all they do is convolute the argument from being whether or not Earth is spinning and giving you 15 degrees an hour under the gyroscope of the Earth turning, and convolute that with Coriolis effect. So once you've established that Coriolis effect is the ground, which is claimed to be spinning, turning underneath an inertial reference frame, that's what Coriolis effect is. All you've got to then do is transpose that onto examples that are supposed to happen if Earth was that spinning reference frame. But the Coriolis effect itself is not to be argued about. It's established, it's set in stone, it is what it is. It's a non-inertial and inertial reference frame. You observing something from the non-inertial spinning reference frame and watching it seem to deviate. That's it. Once you've got that established, you then don't have to argue about them saying, no, I'm going to now discuss in detail the conservation of momentum. What, not Coriolis effect then? Because that's what they'll do if you don't establish with them what the Coriolis effect is, and then just drop it from your argument. As long as you know. The only other thing I was going to add before anybody else pipes up is they leave off a little statement when they come along with their Bob Nodell and Netflix proved Earth is spinning. 15 degrees an hour. That's all you'll get in the comments. Well, 15 degrees an hour of what? Of the Earth turning underneath. That's what 15 degrees an hour is claimed by the gyro or the pendulum or whatever else you like. But the point is that is the Earth turning underneath, and it would need to turn underneath planes and drones and helicopters and hot air balloons and balls and anything else that leaves the non-inertial reference frame. But they don't say that. They just say 15 degrees an hour proves the Earth spins. The gyro shows 15 degrees an hour, or words to that effect. But they leave off the of the Earth turning underneath. That's what the 15 degrees an hour is. Earth turning underneath the spinning reference frame of the gyro. The reference frame of the gyro is the inertial reference frame. You're claiming Coriolis when you've got your gyro and it's 15 degrees an hour of the Earth turning underneath. Anyway, that's my bit.
Thank you, Arwen. Thank you, Chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to add here. You know, we already understand this. This effect apparently is their argument, but yet they argue for why we don't see this effect, and that's just silly. So I hope at some point they might catch up and understand that, yeah, everything is supposed to be in the inertial reference frame while the Earth is spinning underneath. So why do you argue for the Earth not spinning underneath? Is beyond me. But yeah, I'd like to get to the hurricane. So that's what I'm waiting for.
Is that your favorite one? The hurricane? It's one of my favorites, I'd have to admit.
Well, somebody came on the other day and tried to assert to us that hurricanes move in straight lines. So it's one of those things that's adorable to me. So I want to get to that so we can fumble that.
Are you saying I'm going to have to stop after hurricanes?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Let me check it.
Wait.
Let me check it real quick. No, it's going to end soon after that, so we can continue. We'll get to hurricane. Yeah. I got you covered.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, Davey, what's up, man?
What up? What up?
What up? What do you think about this Coriolis effect, man? Anything?
Talking to an aerospace PhD graduate. He's about my age, mid 30s, from Colorado University, and I asked him. I said, "When you jump, does the Earth spin from under you?" And he says, "He's like, do you know how to calculate it?" Basically saying, you know, if you can do the math, then it's possible. But he didn't say it happens in reality. He's just saying if you can calculate it, then, you know, the Earth can spin under you.
So,
what do you guys think about that?
Wait a second. If it's calculable in mathematics, then it's reality? Is that what he was saying?
Right. If you can reify a math model, then it's real, then it's science. So he's like, well, since you don't know how to do the math, then, you know, it doesn't falsify what I'm saying.
Oh,
so if you can do the math
goodness.
of the Earth spinning and your weight and the density of the atmosphere, whatever, it's possible. But if you know, only if you can do the math.
I've heard something very similar. If I could add, a certain astrophysicist said something to that effect. He said, "We know that we went to the moon because we were able to calculate how much fuel it took to
Oh,
go to
yeah,
the moon."
that's right. Yeah. Who was that? Was that DeGrasse Tyson? Smoking DeGrasse Tyson?
Smoking the grass. Yep. And I remember listening to that, like, huh? So we know we went because we calculated how much fuel it took to go. That's it. That's what it took. So that's how we know we went.
Yeah. I can calculate the fuel I'll use driving. Hey, Mike Discipline. I can calculate the fuel I can use to drive the Rancho Cucamonga. That means that I went, right?
Exactly.
What a friggin' numpty. Yeah, I remember chocolate. That was back in the day, man.
It can also calculate how fast a unicorn can fly
Yeah.
in the summertime. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. That's where we're at here. Yep. All right. Betty, any thoughts? We have any admin before we move on?
Yes, we do. We have a super chat from Nathan. But he was testing something out now. It was because someone said that the super chat were doing their job. So, but it's some people are super chatting. And now Ricky Alive says, Jose's crew is like this. Imagine how much I can give once I like Kiwi, to quote the creator. I don't know what did I say? Immovable, not to be moved. God created physics.
Hey, Rocky rocks, man. He's starting to put his toe out here. He's coming out of the nest and putting his toe out, man. Good to hear from you, sir. Thank you. And I still don't like you either, but we're good.
And another super chat just came in from Flat Earth Data. He says, what causes the apparent junction of the sky and ground, Earth curvature or eyesight? Timmy Osman, Profil, Rumpus, Zanuck, and all disagree with Sean Hawkins. Globe salads are idiots. And then
Sorry to interrupt. Was that a super chat from Flat Earth Data? Because I was going to drop that in when there was a moment. So that's something that Flat Earth Data asked me to go and look at yesterday, and I didn't. I just looked at it just before I joined this show. But I want that to come back up when we get to number 1. I want that to come back up, if that's okay. Can you make a mental note, Betty?
To use Flat Earth Data? His super chat or argument? Okay, yeah.
What he specifically says in the super chat, his question and its phrasing are quite important. I just want them to come back up when it comes to the Black Swan question. I don't want to go over it too much now, but I just want a mental note making. His question in his super chat is quite specific. I was literally going to interrupt this and say, as we're talking, or as Chocolate's talking about gas pressure without a container, kind of, make a note to talk about this specific question that Flat Earth Data's rephrased with regards to the Black Swan when we get to number 1. But he's done it for me with the super chat, so well done.
Okay.
What? Go ahead. Not to get off topic, I just want to hear the question.
What causes the apparent junction of the sky and ground, Earth curvature or eyesight?
That's a pretty good darn question. Sounds like a trick question to me.
I think it's an excellent question. What causes the apparent junction of the sky and ground? I think that's excellent. You don't even need to give him the options. What causes the apparent junction between sky and ground? When he asked Tim Osman, he refused to answer.
Really?
He said, I've given all the reasons why there's excuses for Earth curve. That was followed up by Flat Earth Data asking what causes the apparent junction between the sky and the ground, and he wouldn't answer. And then he shortly after dropped when it was pointed out that that's a simple enough question. Coincidentally, he'd already answered it when he said, I've got all the reasons against Earth curve. It's like, well, then you're already telling us what you think causes the apparent junction between sky and ground.
Yep.
But he tried to get, as soon as he was pinned on it by Flat Earth Data, he dropped, refused to answer it, declared that he was refusing to answer it, and then dropped.
Yeah, he's a clown anyway. Yeah, it's a good question. I think it would confuse the Baltards because they would think it's a trick question when it's not. Yep, I see it. All right, anything else, Betty, before we continue?
Nope.
What do you think about the Coriolis effect?
Me?
Yeah, I think you were there when Marbles in the Mouth, Mark Taylor, back in the day when I pulled that little, it wasn't a trick. I just removed the Coriolis effect out of the argument.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I see it much more simpler. I don't think that you need anything else. If something is moving like a merry-go-round and you jump up, right, or something goes up and it goes down again, then it's on a different place because the merry-go-round has moved underneath you, right? Underneath the object that was moved up. So
Sure.
I don't see people's arguments in this that they can't see this. And also, Nathan always said with the pendulum, why would the pendulum do that? Prove it, right? With movement. Well, it doesn't apply to helicopters and planes and anything else that goes up, right?
Exactly.
It's amazing to me that people can have such double speak and double think in their mind and will explain everything away just to get their religion there and keep believing.
Yeah, they can easily obfuscate with nonsensical buffoonery. If you listen real close to them, you can tell when they start to equivocate and make stuff up. Yeah. Yep, but we're gonna.
But I do like the conversation that you had with Mark. That guy is asking so many questions every time, and that's a tactic that he has, and I kind of like the tactic. But I'm a terrorist sympathizer, and I think that even Sleeping Warrior said that I'm controlled opposition now because of a couple of these things. But if that might be the case, I do like people arguing sometimes over things just to see what they use as tactics, and we can all learn from that. And I learned a lot when you were with him talking, but he couldn't get you to move on anything. You just back then.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. I remember it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Vividly. Okay, let's move on to chocolates.
Go
ahead.
Before we move on to hurricanes. Oh, was there someone else to talk? My bad.
No, go ahead. It's you.
Okay. I just wanted to give an example. So somebody posted a link for me in, I think it's a Simon Dan response video about the Coriolis effect, and the comment was basically saying his example is nothing to do with the Coriolis effect. And I'm like, well, that's the point. You're supposed to have one, and he's demonstrating the lack thereof. That's the point. Anyway, he gave me a link to somebody who's like, well, is this the Coriolis effect? Now, I don't know if he was saying it as a trolley comment or genuinely asking for affirmation. So I did actually go and watch the entirety of the video. And although the guy had very low subscriber counts, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers, he'd actually done an exceptionally good job up until a point of demonstrating the Coriolis effect. And what he'd done is he got a drone and got it to rotate at the same speed as a roundabout, a playground roundabout. So you can see what is essentially the reference frame of the person on the roundabout when he releases the ball. You can see what he would see in terms of deflection because the drone is spinning at the same speed as the roundabout. Now, although for me, I thought that was good, I thought for an audience member who's not au fait with the Coriolis effect, it becomes confusing because you're seeing things from the drone, even though it's spinning at the same speed. Nevertheless, it gave a great example of the ball curving away, even though it's only going up and down when he throws the ball. But then later on in the video, cut to him no longer giving a practical explanation and cutting to a wiki diagram of things, or planes, specifically planes, flying north and only having a deflection when traveling north. And like, okay, so you've got a good grasp on what the Coriolis effect is, but as soon as it comes to Earth, you go to wiki and just parrot off what they say. Now, although I wanted to, I didn't leave a comment saying, well, the reason you'd get a deflection if the plane's traveling north is because Earth's rotating underneath. Therefore, your flight traveling west's going to have a shortened travel time, and that doesn't happen. But obviously, at that point, he's already ignored all of the practical information he's acquired firsthand in favor of a wiki parrot. So it's like, what are you going to do? This, when you're describing Mark Taylor, those are people, as you put it, with tactics. But your average general normie, even if he goes into the depths of actually understanding Coriolis effect to the point that he can demonstrate it and figure out how to visually represent it with a drone, spinning it at the same speed, he'll still parrot the nonsense of wiki, claim a slight deflection when traveling north, and ignore the paradox that gives you reduced flight times. Because that's what wiki says when it comes to Earth. He then went on to, although I'll keep this bit brief because you're about to go into this, went into how the ground's dragging up the air to create hurricanes as a violation, complete violation of what he demonstrated on the roundabout. But that's how people are wired.
He immediately contradicted himself.
Yeah, as soon as he got to his depictal representation of what Earth's doing in regards to Coriolis effect, he describes a deflection when traveling north because Earth's rotating underneath. So it's only northbound stuff that's going to be, it's like, okay, well, that's not bad enough. When it moves on to hurricanes are created by Kosho, basically, the same crap we got from Kosho. You're like, how is it that you can explain how a ball has got a not actual deflection and then translate that into Earth dragging up a wind? It makes absolutely no sense. It's a complete contradiction, but he's doing it. Because that's what it says on Wiki. It's riddled with it. If you type Coriolis effect into Wiki, you will not find a concise explanation of what the Coriolis effect actually is. You'll find endless reams of convoluting nonsense about what Earth is supposed to be doing, and it's all nonsense.
Except the GIF. If you go to the GIF, right, and then look at the definition or explanation below, it's perfect. But if you go into the text, you're right. It's a convoluted, jacked up mess. Yep. What else was I was going to comment? Go ahead.
That being said, it's got to be. There's always truth in the lies, and Chocolate's very good when it comes to these citations that have got their Earth-based Coriolis effect being described. They still have to work in a degree of reality and describe what Coriolis effect is with words like illusion,
Yes,
and not actual. So therefore, they'll cite something that's about hurricanes and how Coriolis effect is physically whipping winds into a circle. But then at the beginning of their entry, it'll say something like Coriolis effect is an illusion. Like, what?
yeah, you're correct. You are correct. It's like the incoherent Texas two-step. You're right. I've seen that before. It's really, really stupid. But I did have a question for you. You said that this video, not to prolong this, but this is a good question. You said the guy was on the roundabout and he let go of the drone. You said that he had that thing spinning with him?
Correct. So he starts off by showing you the inertial reference frame. So in other words, the drone is static. It's just filming the roundabout. But then he spins the drone. He gets the rotation speed of the drone to be the same as the rotation speed of the roundabout beneath the drone. I'll send you the video so you can have a look. The first half of it was really good. I was like, because it was sent to me by somebody who just said, Simon Dunn's not talking about Coriolis effect, he's talking about conservation. You're like, yeah, that's the point. Anyway, because it was somebody who'd said that, I was like, do you obviously feel this is in favor of your own? And through the first half of the video, I'm like, this is great. It's perfectly demonstrating it. I understand it. It's clear. He's describing what he's doing. As soon as it cuts to him with the pictures from Wiki, you're like, my God, don't you realize how big a contradiction this is?
I'm not a droner.
But no.
I'm not a droner, but I think that would be pretty difficult. Even if you're spinning slow on the roundabout, to get it like to have it over your head and have that thing to stay over your head as you're turning. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's why I was impressed with it. Like I said, the first half of the video, I was like, I'd never thought of that. Because when the drone went up, I'm like, okay, this will be really useful for how I describe it. The guy on the roundabout will have a camera in his hand and he'll film the drone. But why does he need to do that? He doesn't. It suddenly occurred to me while I was watching the video. You don't need a drone flying above the roundabout to demonstrate Coriolis deviation. Anything that's not on the roundabout. So the guy stood next to the roundabout. Right. You're like, there he is towards you. There he is going away. There he is coming towards you. Like, you don't need a drone in the example.
Right. Yes, sir. You are correct. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, we could talk about that. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. He has to have some talent, right? I don't know. Can you program it in? We'll just move on. I'll check it out. All right, Chuck, go ahead. Anything else?
I just said I'll send it to you.
Okay. All right, Chocolate's favorite and mine, hurricanes. I don't. You can hear all kinds of Dunning-Kruger pretender clowns bring this up. They got off the toilet water spin. You don't hear too much of that. See, when I first come out here, it was toilet water in the southern hemisphere versus northern hemisphere. You don't hear that stuff anymore, folks. But let me tell you, they were saying it. But hurricanes. Okay, let's check this out. So you're saying that hurricanes spin in opposing directions in the northern versus southern hemispheres, respectively, due to the Coriolis effect, eh? I'd sure like some of the angel dust lace shrooms the spinning space monkeys are snorting. Please focus on apparent deflection, not real, appears, and does not actually in the following citations. So we're going to go back to Douglas Cigar. We're going to come down here to the second paragraph. Because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates, they are subject to an apparent deflection called the Coriolis effect. Right? Apparent in this context means not actually. The University of Oregon and the University of Florida, one adopted the definition from the other. Doesn't matter. The effect of the Coriolis force is an apparent deflection of the path of an object that moves within a rotating coordinate system. The object does not actually deviate from its path, but it appears to do so because of the motion of the coordinate system. So do you see the connection between does not actually and it appears? Yeah, they're describing the same thing. If it's apparent, it's not actual. If it's not actual, then it's apparent. Hope that helps. From Utah State, the Coriolis force is an imaginary force because objects affected by it are really following a straight path. It is an apparent deflection. California State University, the Coriolis effect describes the apparent deflection of an object traveling in a straight line. Get it? Last one, encyclopedia.com. Within its rotating coordinate system, the object acted on by the Coriolis effect appears to deflect off its path of motion. This deflection is not real. It only appears to happen. Get it? Because the coordinate system that establishes a frame of reference for the observers is also rotating. All these definitions line up with the GIF from their alma mater wiki that I showed earlier. This is very easy to understand. So, having that in mind, here comes the punchline. You see, these are actual spin directions, right? Hurricanes. We've seen them before, whether we were in one, and we've definitely seen them on the nightly news or any of the weather channels. They're showing a picture or a photograph from the inertial reference frame. And this thing is actually spinning. Is there a problem? See, it's actually spinning and curving. Actually. See the problem yet? Hopefully, if you don't see the problem then you got bigger problems than whether the Earth is flat or a sphere or not. Okay? What does an actual spin have to do with the Coriolis effect, which is an apparent, not real, appears, does not actually? Huh? Por favor. Answer key. Absolutely nothing. In other words, how can clouds be apparently deflecting actually? I want somebody to answer that. Can't wait till we go to the voice chat for this one. I'm asking it. Violation of the law of non-contradiction on nuclear steroids. These two statements are contradictory, like I've been trying to tell you. This is tantamount to giving a presentation on quantum mechanics with excruciating details on SPD and F orbitals. They're not orbitals, by the way. Then concluding that they are responsible for the creation of facultative anaerobe woodpeckers. Alice in Wonderland is more tenable than the highly decorated ball-tart spinning space monkey religion. The prosecution rests simple. You live in a fairy tale, the end. P.S. Occult pendulum. Ah! From mass.org plus mass.org. Once you set one in motion, its direction of swing will rotate at a rate of about 0.2 degrees every minute. But in fact, it isn't really the pendulum that's rotating. The pendulum is swinging back and forth in exactly the same direction. It's the Earth, which is rotating underneath the pendulum, which makes it appear that the pendulum is in fact changing direction. What's that sound like? What does this scenario right here sound like to you? Would it be what we've been going over for the past 45 minutes per adventure?
Mind experiment.
If this is true, what they just said, then why couldn't we just hover in a helicopter in North Carolina for 3 hours and catch a Dodger game? Because if the Foucault pendulum is legit, which denotes two separate reference frames, then guess what? A flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles nonstop, traveling at 500 miles an hour airspeed with both locations roughly the 35th degree north latitude, i.e. both allegedly spinning at 860 miles an hour, should be approximately 1.5 hours, but it's 4.5 hours. Charlotte to a LA flight, airspeed 500 miles an hour. You have to take the ground speed, 500 miles an hour, plus the 860 mile rotation speed that's coming in your face. That right in your face, that you have to add them. 1,360 miles an hour. Easy. Distance between Charlotte, North Carolina and Los Angeles, 2,115 miles. Flight time must be 1.5 hours. Actual flight time, 4.5 hours. Does this 1.5 hour flight time happen? No. Then say bye-bye now to the illustriously dignified and knighted ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. Hold on. One last shot across the bow. Modus tollens. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If the Earth is spinning at 1037 miles an hour at the equator, P, then a nonstop commercial flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to LAX, traveling at 500 mile an hour airspeed, should take no more than 1.5 hours, Q. The nonstop flight takes 4.5 hours, not Q, therefore not P. The Earth is not spinning. Questions, comments?
Yeah, just a quick summary because this is a top 3. So that's number 3. It's Coriolis effect. Now, this is a 3-step process to obliterating the heliocentric religion. Now, this next statement's trademark. So the spinning ball space monkey religion has really, if you ignore evolution, we'll deal with that another day, only got 3 elements to it. Ball-tard, well, those are referring to the people, but ball-tard meaning you think you're on a ball, a spherical shaped Earth. Well, in at number 1, we'll be dealing with that. Space monkey, well, the monkey bit will drop just because it's top 3 about heliocentrism. So space, that would be the sky vacuum. Spinning ball space monkey, you've only got 3 things: spinning, space, and ball. Well, this top 3 deals with all 3. In at number 3, we've dealt with the spinning. So to summarize, if Earth was spinning, you would have a Coriolis effect. The fact you claim a Coriolis effect and then argue for conservation of momentum is because you don't have a Coriolis effect on Earth. Coriolis effect is real. You don't have one on Earth. You would if Earth was spinning. So that's number 3 dealt with. Spinning down the toilet.
I see what you did there.
Arwen, sir.
So, yeah, look, in the real world, this is a complete so ridiculous. It all went in the argumentation with the ballers, them arguing why things are not spinning or are not displacing because of Coriolis effect, even though it should be there. And they really have not thought about it very carefully when it comes to like the overarching consequences of things. So they just keep themselves stuck in between the back and forth as to whether there is spin or signs of spin or not to confuse things up. And that's all they got right now.
Thank you, sir. Chocolate.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. And it's funny because if you listen close enough, they basically destroy their own arguments. So you kind of just have to point out where they're destroying it. It's not really even, you don't even need much effort, because if the Coriolis effect, the Earth-based Coriolis effect was real, we would just see it. We would just say, demonstrate it, and they would be able to. And we wouldn't even have to, because it would just be natural. We would go outside and see planes deviating. Apparently deviating because we're spinning away from them or towards them or something like that. And that just would be a part of life. And we don't see that. That's why we're even talking about it, because we don't see it, yet they think it's real. So, I mean, the only thing they try to attribute it, and I love that you threw that in there, QE, was the hurricanes, and how they're always depicted from the inertial reference frame, but yet they're spinning. But yet we're told that hurricane winds are traveling in a straight line, and they only appear to be spinning because of Coriolis, when clearly they're not doing that. They're actually spinning. They're not spinning because of an illusion. And it's the illusion part which I love, because they will drop on us citations that clearly say that. It's an illusion. So explain to us how an illusion can create actual storms that are actually rotating. Can't do it. It's a done deal. It's a wrap. Earth is not spinning. So that's it.
Davey, any comment on the hurricanes?
Negative.
Yeah?
Baby crying in the background. Sorry.
It's okay. I got you, man. Nathan, make sure you look at panel ballbusters. Betty, any thoughts on hurricanes and any admin?
Any thought on hurricanes? Yeah, well, it's the same thing, and I think that Chocolate pointed out again, double think or double speak that they had, right? But something that is more like an idea, and then it does actually do something. It's ridiculous. They have more of these concepts like gravity. They say that it does something, but they can't show us a picture of it. So yeah. But I got a couple of super chats for you.
Go ahead.
I got one. Huh?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. One from Flat Earth Data. He says there's no physical interaction in force. The definition of fictitious force is no physical interaction, only apparent.
Yep. That's a fact. Thanks, man.
And we got from Chris Berry. He finally got the super chats to work. Thanks for that, Chris. He says, "Show me where the black swan touched you." I don't know. Well, we have a touchdown for the black swan later on, I think so.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Show me the money so I can get my Quan. All right, listen up. I almost went on. Do I have somebody else?
Yeah, Arwin.
Go ahead, Arwin.
Yes. Yeah. I just wanted to point out this amazing in plain sight irony, of in one point the ballers argue, no, the air moves in lockstep with the earth, so there is no displacement due to this rotation. But then at the same time they'll argue that because of the earth rotation, hurricanes spin. But what would be initiating that spin if not some kind of motion due to the rotation? So it's like self-contradicting both the points. It's so bizarre how it came to be. That
it appears we have another special guest on board. Betty, I'll give you the honor.
Well, I saw that Robert Bassano is here in the chat. I don't know if he's at the mic at the moment. So, Robert, if you want to say something about the Coriolis effect, then you're welcome to do so. And you are off mute, so you can speak if you want to.
Hey, Kaiser Soze. Let's go. You're holding up the gig.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, you calm the hell down. You understand me? You slow your roll there, Junior. You slow your roll. Look.
What's up, man?
You know what I think. You know what I think about the Coriolis effect. We already talked. All right. We showed the Navy whale gun. All right. Remember how we showed that? So this stuff about hurricanes, we talked about this yesterday on Skype as well. That's a bunch of bullshit. Because I watched a live stream show on YouTube with NASA JPL talk about, weather, climate change, and how they observe that with this $100 million plus satellite and this piece of shit that's in the sky. And it hit me immediately when I said to them in live chat online, wait a minute, how could you be monitoring anything you think is natural when the Department of Defense admitted we can fuck with the weather at will? Just push a button. Hey, you want a hurricane here? You want it to sleet? You want it to hailstorm at this location? You want to fuck up this person's farm? Just push a button. So, look, I talked about this 4 years ago. Ain't nothing real. Everything that they think they say is an act of Mother Nature and naturally occurring, we have figured out a way to fuck with it at will. Ain't nothing real. Hurricanes, look where they always happen. Look where they always come out of. The same locations on the same place of the planet every single year, like fucking clockwork. Give or take if somebody was on duty and maybe went drinking the night before, missed it by a few minutes or a fucking day or two. They happen on, and people say it has to do with. Yeah. Keep believing that crock of shit.
Hey,
I don't believe in climate change. Never did. At all.
hey, we're almost at our F limit.
Okay. All right. I expended mine. I gotta get some more. I gotta get some more crypto fuck currency.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. The point being is this. The Coriolis effect, you and I said it, John. It's a moot argument. You should have just had to explain this one time, repost it, and just let people listen to it again. You saw what I did when I came back. All I did was just repost a few things I wanted to revisit again. I didn't even have to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, but we should. You're right. I agree with you. But in this case,
let's go to next chapter.
But in this case, I have to repeat it 5,000 times. Yep, you're right. I agree with you.
Well, then, pay these people. Then what you should do is pay for their medical bills and their insurance so they can go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor to get their ears checked. Oh, no. They've got to go to a proctologist because their head's up their ass. So that's where they're listening from.
Whoa. This is a family show. Come on.
Yeah, that's right, Robert.
My son don't mind. He's in the next room.
All right, man. Thanks. Okay, listen.
All right, brother.
We're going to stop right here because it's the end of first proof. We're going to move to the BALLBUSTERS voice chat. Ballers, if you have this is on topic. If you have anything in rebuttal of the Coriolis effect presentation, we want to hear it now. So the link is in the info box below. Come on in. Remember the rules. No ad homs, no scattergunning, and be polite. Be prepared to support your points. If any of those are violated, you're going to get booted. Okay? So come on in. The water's warm. No sharks. Okay? Righteous.
Yes.
You have the con, sir.
Let's start with Brian if he's around. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, good day.
Okay.
No, I've got no rebuttals against it. The only thing I'd say is the Fulcrum's pendulum, in my understanding, has to have the base rotating. So surely the only place it could ever work is directly above the pole. Other than that, the base would be doing a linear movement. Am I right?
Say that again.
The pendulum would have to be directly above the pole for the base to rotate. If it's any other place on a globe, surely the whole base is moving in a linear action and not a rotation action. It's an angular.
I think I get the issue here. I think you're taking it one step too literal, because it's not really about any kind of literal motion you're supposed to be imagining. It's just basically, showing a pendulum swinging back and forth in a motion and telling you, okay, now imagine that the Earth is rotating beneath it, and then figure a way through that. And that's really the trick.
Yeah, but they say the base is rotating. The base isn't rotating if it's not on the actual pole.
But the base is supposed to be the entire Earth. That's the point. See? That's the mind experiment they're making you do.
I think I see where you're headed, Brian. Yeah, that's another echelon deeper into it. I don't think we need to go there, though. We can just pummel it right here.
Yeah. The other thing, the hurricanes, looking from off the ground, they would be rotating the opposite way.
They'd be going in a straight line if they're to be asserted that you're seeing an apparent deviation. So Coriolis are not actual deflection, and hurricanes have an actual spin direction.
Yeah, observed from above, but what about being observed from the ground?
Unless they're going in a straight line and only seeming to turn, then it's not an example of Coriolis effect. They've got an actual spin direction. So Coriolis is observed from the spinning reference frame. If you're on a roundabout to see Coriolis, you're watching something that's not on your spinning roundabout. But it's not observing something on a roundabout that's spinning above you. That's not relevant to the Coriolis effect. It's you observing something and you being spinning when the thing that you're observing isn't.
Right.
Well, the thing you're observing in the case of a hurricane is actually spinning itself. It's got an actual spin direction.
Yeah. Understand what you say, yeah. How I had them explained to me was just running your hand down the middle of a bath will create two opposite rotations.
That's lovely. That's got
Nathan, can I add something to that?
Quickly.
Yes, very quickly. Yes, the proof that the hurricane is actually literally spinning is that there is an actual deflection going on. If you're part of that hurricane, if it was Coriolis effect, then you would stay in place and everything around it would be spinning. That's really how it works. See?
What I meant by the bath is something is affecting it that is going around our equator, spinning one direction and one the other.
So you're describing actual spin directions, and Coriolis effect is observing not actual deflection.
Yes, but we know they do spin in opposite directions, don't we? So we have to sort of equate what can cause that. And to me, the sun passing through could cause one rotation one way and one rotation the other.
I understand where you're going here, Brian, but we're not talking about that. That would be pure speculation. No one would ever come up with a scientifically validated cause for that. And that's not Coriolis. Follow?
Roger.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Are you all done?
Yep. Go ahead, Righteous.
All right. I guess Davey gets to talk next.
Sir, I'm right here.
I see you're having fun in text chat.
I am. What was the question?
Moving on.
Yeah, he's got his hands full over there. Yeah, go to Jinsey BR1.
All right, he's off mute.
Oh, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. No Coriolis effect proves stationary Earth, basically. And I think there was an experiment conducted in England at the 600 miles an hour. Sorry, a cannon was fired up. It was launched. It was aloft for 28 seconds. It went up for 14 seconds, started to descend 14 seconds, and it landed within inches of the cannon. And on a couple of occasions, it actually landed back in the muzzle. But if the Coriolis effect was the Earth was spinning, then the actual cannonball would have landed 5 miles west of that cannon. That's all I can say. Do excuse my haphazard way of explaining that.
No, you're correct. The only thing, I wouldn't characterize it as an experiment. It was just a demonstration, but you're exactly right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the opportunity. Thanks.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Righteous.
Good to hear you, Jen. All right, we'll go to JK38. You around, JK? And
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
yeah,
I don't really have much to add. I'm just here listening. But I'm kind of glad you said something. Just want to say what's up to everybody. I listen to you guys regularly. I almost feel like I know you. But QE, Nathan, you two are great. Appreciate what you do. And that's about it.
Thank you, sir.
and do we want to hear from Bassano again, or do we move on?
No, that's Kaiser Soze.
Oh. Do we? He's off mute if he wants to say something else.
No. I mean, I like. I don't know if Nathan saw it, but I really liked the explanation that he gave of what John's presentation in the beginning about how moot the Coriolis discussion is and continues to be, because you can't have all these variable activities going on and then saying that the earth is spinning, the ground is spinning. I remember it was a few years back, someone had said, well, if the ground we live on and walk on is really spinning, then that means all you got to do is get in a helicopter, go up to 500 feet, and just hover there and enjoy the scene till when you're in New York, just wait for California to show up right under you.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I not only do I agree with John and agree with Nathan, but the way Nathan explained it, man, I'm sorry, Nathan, but I'm gonna plagiarize the hell out of you and copyright the hell out of you because I'm actually waiting for an email response right now from a former NASA employee called Phil Albert, who tried to explain this with regard to how does water stick to a spinning ball? And John, the key word popped up because the guys discussed something regarding tangent planes. And when you talk about tangent planes in geometry, the guy did a good explanation on and explained this to somebody who asked that question. But it still doesn't make any sense, because what you're trying to say is if you've got multiple layers of a spinning upper atmosphere, then that means that something in the center has to be moving in an opposite direction, creating this incredible, unexplainable gyro effect for water to always, what they call finding its level, coming to the center. And that's how the water, this dense liquid, is sticking to the earth and not spinning off on all these other places. I mean, no, that didn't, he almost got me, but I'm glad I read the rest of the comments, because I'm now looking into providing a visual illustration of what tangent plane geometry should look like when we try to develop some sort of succinct and cognizant model of, okay, if we're going to say the Earth is flat, not the whole thing, and they say it's an equipotential ellipsoid, then it can explain that yes, somehow the waters are staying down, and I don't want to get into the semantics of what's up and what's down, but staying into center. So that means that if the waters are staying in the center, our geography is not right then. Something's not right. Because, you take any body of water, if you take that water all out of a lake, lift it up in the sky and just release it right back down to the ground, I mean, it's going to create something really incredible. So, yeah. For me, Nathan, thanks for that explanation. John, thanks for that explanation. It got me researching tangent planes on how we can explain how things, we can better explain how, if someone wants to believe we live on, a spinning, expanding water balloon, how is the water staying there? Okay, well, the water would stay where it's at and find its level, because here goes another model of what the Earth would look like, but not a ball. I mean, I was on NASA's website just the other day. They showed, I saw a lot, it wasn't live, but it was recorded video. It was a black and white video of some ESA satellite that passed by the Earth. It was slingshotting around Earth, and you see a glimpse of the Earth, what it looked like. And it was in black and white. And I'm like, whoa, but they showed it looking like it was a spear, a ball. So I go look at the video again, and lo and behold, some jackass forgot to take the casting shadow out of the damn video, because you could see how somebody could have been someone in the background while they were shooting that. And I started laughing. I'm like, oh man, I want to take this, put this. I think I need to send this to somebody who can make fun of this one. But yeah, man. I mean, Johnny, man, I look forward to getting back on the show with you in about 2 weeks. Don't tell anybody what we're gonna talk about. But
Appreciate it, man.
yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Hey, when you
That's
say no, you really don't have to say anything. What happens when you say yes, I got to say something?
Well, hey, I didn't want to just be mute and think people always think I was just sitting by and not having an opinion about things. But hey, I'm not arguing what it is you're saying. I mean, you're gonna talk about the creator thing. I'm gonna lambast you on that one.
Oh,
So,
I can't wait. You'll be. I'm gonna put you through the wood chipper. Hey.
Oh yeah. I got the alarm clock ready.
It's gonna be real bad for you. Moose Town.
Hopefully Betty doesn't get upset with me because I'm.
She isn't gonna get upset. She's gonna be laughing.
Ooh,
thanks.
interesting.
You know how I'm gonna be on that one.
Moose Town.
Well, Robert, just listen on, because we're going to get the cash pressure next, and then your whole satellite business is going to be bunk anyway. So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead,
Someone
Moose Town.
calling
Thanks,
you?
Robert.
You guys hear me?
Hour and a half on Coriolis effect.
Oof.
We're going 4 more hours.
Okay. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. Look, if I can just play the baller. So I mean, the proof of that the Earth is spinning is essentially that you have gyroscopes picking up a 15 degree an hour rotation.
Yeah. He already went. Nathan already went over that.
Okay.
You must have missed that. Was the first part of the show.
Oh, perhaps then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I haven't heard anyone argue that. So, I mean, do you have ballers that say, "Oh, well, everything's traveling together except for the gyro, because the gyro is supposedly unaffected by rotation of the mounting"? I mean, did you guys ever have such an argument by a baller? Because what I've heard has never been very consistent from them.
Yeah, they're not very consistent with anything. If you want to listen to the gyro 15-degree deal, like I said, it's at the beginning of the show. Anything else?
No, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Keep up the good job.
Thank you. Mr. Reality. Keeping it real, Mr. Reality.
Hey, man. How y'all doing?
Good.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah, I might break up there for a minute.
Go ahead.
So you already talked about the gyro situation, right?
Yes.
Well, I just like to comment on that real quick.
Real quick.
Now I watch the Navy's video showing how the axis of the spinning gyro stays fixed or rigid in all of space and has no respect to the Earth's surface, as an airplane is supposed to be going over a globe. And they show in their model the axis pointing in a certain direction as the airplane moves around, the gyro, because the gimbal itself, allows the gyro to stay fixed. And what I would suggest is, why couldn't you point the axis towards its axis towards the horizon, facing start the gyro up, and you should see it. It would be parallel to the Earth's surface, but then by noon it would be perpendicular, following the sun staying fixed.
Was there a question in there? Sorry.
Yeah, wouldn't that be the case?
Yeah, that's what they claim when they say there's 15-degree turn of the Earth underneath the fixed frame of the gyro. That's precisely what they're claiming.
Yeah, then I don't understand how the Navy would actually, show that it actually stays fixed when it comes to its the axis. You know what I mean? Not its rotation. You see all these videos where the axis actually stays perpendicular, and then it shows a turning of the gyro's gimbal at 15 degrees. But what I'm talking about is the actual axis slowly going from parallel with the Earth's surface and following the sun. If the Earth is spinning, then it would be following the sun. You know what I mean? So it would end up being perpendicular at noon, according to the Navy's video.
I think I get what you're saying. What you're saying is, should there not be an actual mechanical demonstration of gyros drifting? And the answer to that was no, until Flat Earth Core or Field. Sorry, what are they called again? I've forgotten the name of the group. Field Engineering, FE Core, Field Engineers Core, did a test with a not ring laser, a fiber optic gyro, and that was claimed to show 15 degrees an hour turn of the Earth underneath the gyro. Now, the mechanical gyros that I've seen don't demonstrate this, but that one was claimed to demonstrate it. Now, all gyros are supposed to demonstrate this. So the whole Foucault pendulum and gyro demonstration is supposed to be just fact. It should happen always, without exception, because the gyro's in its space fixed and the Earth's turning underneath, right? Well, no, it never happens. I've never seen it demonstrated. I've never seen the fiber optic gyro. I've literally not seen it in operation, so I've not seen that happen, ever. It's claimed to have happened. Have I seen it? No. But that's the only, to my knowledge, claim of this happening beyond, malls with their Foucault pendulums apparently spinning in a straight, swinging in a straight line as the Earth apparently rotates underneath them. Other than those two things, I've not ever had anybody ever claim that this actually is physically capable of being shown to me. And when people do show it, they show no drift. So I think what you're saying is, should it not show drift? Yeah, it should. We don't see it, but apparently FE Core showed it.
Yes. Yep. We good, Mr. Reality?
All right, we'll just move on to Neil.
Neil!
After an hour and a half?
What's up, Neil?
I'm just getting my education, man. Much appreciated. I'm in over QE and Nathan right now. Keep it coming.
Thanks, man. I'm just getting started. It's just starting to spark at an hour and a half.
And I'm just starting to listen.
Cool, man. Thanks,
good
Neil.
presentation. I'm enjoying the QE. You know that.
Yeah. Thanks, sir.
And Hub?
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks to QE and Nathan, all the work they're doing. I'm learning a lot and I'm trying to teach these things to my daughter and niece. The one question I had is, so all the notes that QE is showing, is it published somewhere or is it only through videos I have to take them?
Oh, you're talking about the presentations? Yeah,
Yes,
they're going to
sir.
be published on my website. Only one is published now. However, just stay tuned over the next few weeks to the coming months. And I'm gonna be judicious, but I am gonna publish some of them, yes.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
All right, and the last one is Rebel, because Redman is at work.
Okay.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great job, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, listen, I've heard a lot of your presentations. Great, stellar job. Just a couple of thoughts on Coriolis. I can't figure this out. How was it all came about in the first place? Was it an observation or just a straight up conjure of an effect of some sort? How did it all came about in the first place?
Are you talking about the argument against the Coriolis effect with respect to the Earth? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about how the Coriolis effect came into being in the first place. Like, was there observation made by somebody that, and then they claim that's the Coriolis effect?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know the exact history of it. Yeah, but anything rotating All you need is 2 separate reference frames, and the Coriolis effect does exist, right? But the kicker is what they tried to do is superimpose that on the rotating Earth. You see how they did that?
Right, but if they do that, they would have to observe certain phenomenon, right? Like deviation. Was this phenomenon ever observed to claim that?
No, not on the Earth, but on a spinning reference frame, because they had many things that rotated, right?
No, I understand. No,
Yeah,
I understand. So you're saying there is no observation in history that we can recall that lends credence to Coriolis effect?
Not with
Yes,
respect
there
to
is.
the Earth. Go ahead, Nathan, you had something?
Yeah, hold on. I think I understand. You did ask this question, QE, and I don't think it came through clear enough, Rebel. So the question you originally asked us, do you mean with respect to the Earth? Because if you're talking about, is this claimed phenomenon, as you phrased it, observable or demonstrable, and if so, who was it? Well, it was Foucault.
Okay, so prior to Foucault, there was no subject of Coriolis in regards to Earth.
No.
So it was basically what you're saying is it was completely conjured up. Foucault allegedly saw a phenomenon and then begged the question, claim of spinning Earth, right?
Would have been the other way around. He'd have said, right, Earth spinning, well, I can prove it thusly. And then he comes up with these pendulum and gyroscope examples with a gyro that's spinning at something like 300 RPM or something pathetic for about 30 seconds.
What I'm trying to say is, essentially what's happening is they have a claim of spinning Earth, then they have to figure out the way to prove it, and they conjured up the Coriolis effect through that alleged experiment. Right? There is no observation or phenomenon that we can actually observe.
That's correct.
Well,
That's correct, and it's not. That's correct.
If there was some type of
I mean, this is just
observation,
mind-boggling.
wouldn't we if there was some type of observation, wouldn't we continue to observe that?
No, I understand it.
Wouldn't that be something that would just happen? It would just happen naturally, right? We would see it.
Yeah, I would understand if there was a phenomenon that was mistaken for Coriolis, and people talk about it and say, oh yeah, it's because Earth spins. But come to realize this is completely conjured up relationship between Coriolis and spinning Earth.
Yes.
It's nothing but been observed historically or contemporaneously. I just can't think of it.
You're correct. Yeah,
Because
it was conjured.
It is an actual effect. But I guess somebody one day said, well, if this was happening, if the Earth was spinning, we would have to see this effect.
Yes.
So it became an argument for the Earth spinning. But because it's not actually spinning, they have to figure out a way to argue why it exists, but at the same time, we don't see it.
Right. Exactly. You got it. Yep.
Wasn't really a problem until planes came along, because your loose assertion with a spinning gyro or a pendulum, who's going to debunk that? What better means have you got of debunking that? And then aeroplanes and flight comes along, and suddenly you've got things that are hanging around in the inertial reference frame for hours at a time and are in no way affected by Earth turning underneath, which is the very necessary ingredient to have a Coriolis effect as declared by the pendulum and by the gyroscope. Now, in modern day times, with much better precision engineered gyros, we don't see this effect. Hence, the only assertion that we do comes from, what do we have? We've got Neil deGrasse Tyson saying a ball being kicked shows it when the ball's in the air for 2 or 3 seconds, tops. You've got people claiming that snipers have to deal with it. Again, the bullet's in the air for 2 or 3 seconds. And then you've got this fiber optic gyro, because the mechanical ones aren't showing it. So that's it. Really obscure things with very little hang time. But the thing that obliterates the argument is airplanes. They're in the air for a very long time. They're definitely not attached to the non-inertial spinning reference frame of a claim to be spinning Earth. Therefore, you should have reduced flight times when traveling west, and we don't.
Yep. Right. I'm thinking of this in slightly different perspective.
We're gonna we're gonna have to wrap it up. So, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thanks.